I used to think my life ended the moment I signed the divorce papers. The ink dried quickly, as did the tears I wiped away countless times. My husband, David, left me for our neighbor, a woman with whom I had once shared tea and laughter. The betrayal had shattered me, leaving me an empty shell that I struggled to fill with meaning. The house, though spacious, was suffocating with memories of the life I had built and lost. But then came news from Africa. My sister's son, Emmanuel, was coming to America to fulfill his dream. I still remember the excitement that fluttered in my heart when I learned that he would be living with me in Texas. I spent days getting ready, cleaning the spare bedroom, and imagining the laughter that would once again fill those lonely walls. Emmanuel had always been special to me. Even as a child, he had that rare charm that made people feel seen and heard. I hoped that perhaps his presence would wash away the sadness that had weighed me down for too long. When he finally came, I saw a young man standing at my door, tall and handsome, with hope in his eyes. He had grown since I had last seen him, but he was still Emmanuel, with the same gentle smile and curious eyes that seemed to take in everything. He greeted me warmly, put his arm around my shoulders, and in that moment I felt like all the years I had lost were back. Our days together were filled with laughter, stories of home, and an unfamiliar joy that gradually breathed new life into me. I made him breakfast every morning, a mixture of American pancakes and African dishes that he missed so much. He would tell me about his classes, his friends, his ambitions, and I would listen, feeling myself growing younger because of his dreams. My house was no longer empty, it came alive again, and so did I. I was proud of his accomplishments, attending his school events and cooking his favorite meals. I wanted Emmanuel to stay with me forever. I began to envision a future where he would have a home here in Texas, where we would continue to share these moments of warmth and connection. For the first time in years, I felt like I belonged to him somewhere. But as they say, dreams are as fragile as glass and shatter without warning. One afternoon, I came home early. I planned to surprise Emmanuel with his favorite jollof rice. The house was quiet, but I could hear quiet mumbling and muffled laughter coming from upstairs. My heart raced, curiosity pulling me toward the source of the sound. I walked toward Emmanuel's room, and through the small crack in the door, I saw them, Emmanuel and the girl, tangled, lost in the sheets. I froze in place, my heart shattering into 1,000 pieces. It wasn't the very sight of them together that broke me, but the realization that I had once again allowed myself to believe in something that wasn't real. The laughter, the warmth, the connection, it all seemed false in that moment. I wanted to scream, to burst through the door, but instead I quietly stepped away, feeling my world crumble for the second time in my life. The dinner I had made remained untouched that night. I sat alone in the kitchen, staring at the empty plate I had set out for Emmanuel, tears silently streaming down my face. Eventually he came down, and I could see the guilt in his eyes as he looked at me, but he said nothing, and neither did I. Unspoken words filled the space between us, a chasm that seemed impossible to bridge. I wanted Emmanuel to stay forever, but now all I wanted to do was let go of the dream I clung to so desperately. He was young, he had a life ahead of him that I had no control over, and I was once again left with the echoes of a home that felt too empty. Maybe love in any form wasn't meant for me. Maybe my role was to give, to care, and then watch those I loved walk away, leaving me behind. And as I lay in bed that night, looking up at the ceiling, I realized that maybe it was time to finally learn to live for myself, even if I had to do it alone.